Hi, everyone. Welcome to Story Mantra. I'm Anju Gattani, your host. This is part two with the Amazon best-selling author who just launched her book 2 days ago on July 29th, and her book already hit the Amazon #1 bestsellers list. So congratulations, C D'Angelo.
Thank you so much.
And we are super thrilled to have her on our show because it's the first time Story Mantra is hosting an author whose book just released, and now here she is with us, which is so exciting because she's Italian. Her character is Italian, Rachel, Italian American, and so that multicultural flavor and experience, and of course all the food that she keeps posting on her social media, which just drives me insane because it all looks so good. So, who is the author behind the book and all the food? C. D'Angelo is an Italian-American author living in Winter Garden, Florida with her husband. She has been a psychotherapist for 20 years and began writing in 2013 to add to her many hobbies, which include playing the ukulele. So if you want to see that ukulele, you need to go back and watch the previous episode where she had it on board with us. Her ukulele is called Ursula, by the way, which is gorgeous. She's also a psychotherapist for 20 years. And sorry, I think I said that. She loves to draw, paint, crochet, cross stitch, sew, and any other craft available to try. She's a woman of many hats and many trades, let me tell you that. I don't know how she does it all, but soon writing became more a hobby and now is a passion, and her life experiences have made their way into her relatable stories of the Italian culture in women's fiction. The Difference is her debut novel, and more stories are on the way. What does Barbara Conry, USA Today bestselling author of Nowhere Near Goodbye, have to say about this read? Let me share that with you. In The Difference, D'Angelo addresses a very human need to know where we came from and why we do what we do with honesty and empathy. Her writing style immediately pulls you into the story, providing just the right amount of detail to hold your interest until the very last page. So we already know it's a page turner. Can you tell us a little bit, Christine, about the story and Rachel, the woman behind the book? So we know you're the author behind the book.
Yes, Rachel is a woman who's in her early 30s. It's about a year in her life where she's been realizing she feels very empty, even though she has everything on paper. She's achieved things, has a great boyfriend, but that relationship's starting to fall apart. She's falling apart mental health wise, maybe needing a little bit of a shift or help. And she realizes she needs to find out about her past to help influence her future. So she goes on an ancestry journey specifically to find out about her grandpa's Italian immigrant secret that he never would talk about. So she feels like she needs that, and that would really help her.
So what mental health issues do you address in the book?
Anxiety and depression, and she is a therapist in there, and so there's touches of other issues in there, but just like mentioning them. But the anxiety is very clear throughout, and then touching on depression as well.
Okay. And in the previous episode, we talked about not fitting in, which is something huge that immigrants from all genres, all walks of life face. What or how does Rachel experience that in your book?
Yes, especially because of her physical appearance. She doesn't look stereotypically Italian with how Americans have portrayed Italians. She always felt very different. Her grandpa and her were kind of the only people she knew that looked like them. Red hair, freckles, super duper thin. And so her personality was really shaped by that, and she withdrew in herself, wanted to blend in, was not really confident. And as the book goes on, hopefully we'll see, hopefully she gains some confidence.
Right. So you hit the Amazon bestsellers list just shortly after the launch. How did that happen?
Yeah, I was trying to I'm in different categories on Amazon. When you load your book on Amazon as a self-published person, you're going to have to pick categories to put yourself in. And so I picked, obviously, ones that all make sense, but some I thought, well, maybe that's kind of a smaller category that I have a chance in. Like you really, as a beginning author, cannot expect to be #1 in contemporary women's fiction. Like that's pretty impossible.
The broadest and most demanding category, right?
Right. So I picked things that I think I had a chance in, but I did get, I mean, one of the categories was humorous American literature, which that's pretty amazing, you know, but I also tried to really ask people if they could to wait until the release day to try to purchase the book, the paperback anyway. And so that really matters to get the most sales on a certain day or a time period.
Right. So what formats are your book available on for readers? And we have the links below for all of you who are interested in making a purchase, myself included. I have yet to read the book, and I'm going to read it because of all the social media, which we'll be talking about shortly too. So walk us
It's
through that.
ebook and paperback, and I'm on all the different websites. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart Kobo for ebook, Target for the paperback. I feel like I'm forgetting probably, Google Play and Apple Books. Those are the other ones. Yeah. And it's on more, but those are the major ones.
Right. And we'll have the entire list below the video so you can get the book in any format you want. So I know we touched on the previous session about, the path to publication, where you initially were with small press and then you made a snap decision. This is not the right decision for you. And you went on your own indie press route. I wanted to ask a little bit about, getting your books out on all these different formats with all these different retail outlets. How did you know which ones to pick and which ones were not right for you?
Right. It's a lot of decision making, and I'm a thinker, I'm a planner. I think through everything, I overthink through everything. So, to even go on my own self-publishing journey, that was really difficult. But, when I did, I had the support of the writers community, and I had been hearing about certain ways to go and certain platforms and everything, but I made a lot of decisions in a week because I wanted to get this book out there in the summer. And so I just asked people, and I read about a lot online, and I read kind of the comments about the different websites, and I ended up publishing it on 4 different websites. And so two of them go to a bunch of different stores, one in paperback version, one in e-version. And then I did e-version on Google Play, and then Amazon has one of each. That's what I decided to do. It just felt like the best thing for me.
Okay. So I also wanted to ask you a little bit about pitching, because you're a pro in pitching. You offer services as well, editorial pitching services. Could you talk a little bit about that for, seasoned newbies or even writers who were just considering to go the route of writing a fiction novel?
Yes. Okay. Pitch parties are a major powerhouse that people sometimes don't realize about. Twitter is the platform that mostly has them, but I was very successful every time I did. I did it twice before I got a contract from doing it the second time, where you write a pitch on the day of the party. The hashtag has to be in there for whatever party it is. So for example, the one that I did is called Pit Mad. That's the biggest one. It's for all genres. Other ones, it's for just romance, just sci-fi, whatever, but Pit Mad is the big one. So on the days of their parties, you have to have 1 or 2 lines of a pitch and then include some hashtags in there. And so with Twitter, 280 characters, that's a challenge to put your pitch in that amount with hashtags. So I found that I had this weird natural skill. Like I was like, okay, you know what?
It's called a social media skill.
It's weird. And so I thought, let me help other people. I'm a helper. I want to help you get there, because one of the beautiful things about this community is that it's not, I don't think it's competitive. It's all very subjective on, who the agent likes, who the publisher likes, and why not try to help people reach their dreams? So now I have a business on my homepage, C.D'Angelo.author.com. On the For Writers tab, I have my ebook, my evaluation services, my coaching services. I do have some free tips. If you join my newsletter, I have top 5 pitch party points, and I have a schedule of the pitch parties for the year on the bottom of that page for writers.
Well, and how long do you work with writers on their pitches for? Is it like several weeks at a stretch? Is it a month-long process or more? Just for them to have a time frame understanding.
It depends on the different package that you pick. That would be like an evaluation would be you send me 3 tweets, I evaluate them, I tell you what to include, what would not work, I send them back. And I usually, it says on there within 5 to 7 days, but I usually do it within a day or so because I don't like to leave anyone hanging. The coaching is where it would get to be a little bit more of the back and forth, and I'm helping you write it and everything like that. So that would take a little bit more time.
Sure. And what genres are you ready to help people work on?
Anything, because this, I don't have to have read the book to write the pitch and help you with the pitch. I just need to know the character. You want the character in there. Here's some tips. You want the character in there, you want the problem, and you want the stakes. You want that in there, and people forget the stakes all the time. It's super important.
Right.
There's a little insider for your viewers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very helpful. Because, you know, in a community of, or a field of writing where, you know, you may write the best story you can, but you never know what's going to happen to it next. All you can do is put the forces you can behind it, all the knowledge and power you can, and then kind of wish it goodbye, good luck, and see where it goes. Of course, you don't give up, you keep the follow-up, but it does require a lot of skill, a lot of time, and a lot of creativity, especially when you have like 280 characters with hashtags and you have to squeeze in. That's hard.
So I help you get that interest, and then from there you have to send your query package, and that's out of my hands, but I will help you get the best pitch there is to get that interest.
So for all of you who are interested in, you know, joining this and working with Christine on your pitch, you know where to go, and the links are below the video. Tell us a little bit about your blog and your social media and something exciting you're going to share with us.
Yes. Okay. Just before this interview, I went onto my Instagram and I had posted a reel just, I would say maybe an hour ago. And it has the most views I have ever had and ever could imagine. It had almost 30,000 views.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, in an hour. And all it was is me signing my book.
Wow.
Now, I'm very excited about this. There is the leading British Titanic expert. His name is Tim Moulton. And I had started communicating with him a while ago because I do have in the book, Rachel, my main character, she has a fascination with anything Titanic, and so do I. And so I, in my real life, had began communicating with Tim a while ago and ended up being lucky enough to meet him. And so when I wrote this book, I did put his name in there, and he said, send me a signed copy. So the reel is me opening the book, showing what I signed to him, and that's it, with the Titanic.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. You rocked the book.
Thank you. I'm so excited. It's just like, you never know when things will take off, but you know, you got to do some just simple, silly stuff sometimes.
I hear you. And tell me a little bit about, you know, the social media, the social media management behind everything, because I know you've been at it for quite some time now. I've been watching you, and I think it's inspiring what you do. How you do it, of course, and how you find the time, I don't know, because you have a full-time job as a psychotherapist as well. So how does it all come together for you?
Thank you for that sweet compliment. I mostly focus my energy on Instagram, and then I would say secondary Twitter, and then third Facebook. I post every day. I try to post every day. I might miss some days here and there, but on Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, I kind of only do the very big things because it just I wasn't getting a lot of interaction. But I just try to make a post every day about a theme in my book, or just something very inspirational, or about writing or reading. Those are kind of the main things I would say. So about my book, it would also include the setting, which is New York, sometimes Philadelphia. It has like a minor part in there, but I still post about that. And Italy, just anything about the Italian culture. The Italian culture themes are what draw people in all the time. And you know, there is a lot of food in here, and people have been suggesting lately I should make a difference cookbook. Maybe I will.
You never know. Is that what the next project is about?
Oh my gosh, no, but it could be in the future. No, I actually have my second book written. It's called The Visitor. And I am deciding shortly which path I'm going to go. I think I might be leaning towards the self-published route again, because I would really like that out next year.
Can you tell us a little bit about The Visitor? Is it like an extension of The Difference? Is it a sequel, or is it a brand new story?
Brand new story. It is set in New Orleans about a woman who owns a new age store, and she lives above it. And there is a developer wanting to destroy it along with other buildings. And she has to learn to trust strangers in her community to help save her building. And the developer is her nemesis ex-boyfriend as well. And she gets possibly a little help from a mystical customer. So there's a little bit of the paranormal in it too, because it's New Orleans. I feel like I need that a little bit.
Right. Why not? Why not? If it works, put it in.
Yep.
So help me understand a little bit about the social media management side of it. Where do you find the time? And what's interesting for me is, how do you know and how do you gauge what is right for you? Because there's so much out there that people can do.
Yeah, I really want to connect with people. That's just how I am. I want to talk to you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to have fun conversations, and not necessarily all about, here's my book, here's my book, here's my book. Now lately, obviously, a lot of my posts are about that because I just released, but right. I usually post themes about it, and then if you're interested in these things, you may want to check out my book. So it's like that. But I have a folder in my notes app on my phone. I love to organize, that has all the different hashtags that I have researched that are in the different categories. So New York, Italy, writing, reading, immigration, different things like that, mental health stuff, inspirational quotes. And every day I have a few certain standards that I always put first. Like I have a hashtag for my name, the book names, things like that. And then I always add in those after that. So I just cut and paste that every day. But as far as what to post, I just see what I'm inspired to do. And maybe sometimes look on my grid on Instagram and see what that I post needs to be brought up again. So if I've done a lot of Italy stuff, then I'm going to maybe do an inspirational quote and like mix it up. Or maybe I'll make a reel on there. This last week for one of my launch parties, I tried for the first time Instagram Live, and that was really fun. But that's a whole different thing. So I'm not going to do that very often because it's live, but the reels are really good and fun to do. You can add music and be creative. So I just kind of see what I feel like, but I also have a lot of organization.
Right. Well, what I find fascinating is that you have a full-time job as a psychotherapist. You've also been working on this book since 2013. You shifted gears going from small press to self-publishing, which is basically taking it all of it.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking for the same with book 2. How do you divide your time so that you're able to fulfill all the criteria you need to meet all these demands?
Yes. So I usually try to post around my lunch hour, and that I have found is when the most people are interacting anyway. So that's easy, because when you post on Instagram, you really want some interaction in the first half an hour. So I usually try to do it when I'm on lunch, and then I can keep checking back. So that's nice. And as far as like finding the time to do everything, I write my blog usually on a weekend, and it's only once a month. So that's, I would say, like 2 hours worth of time probably. And then I will edit it during the week, maybe after work or before work or something like that, and then get it out there. I have a Pinterest also, so I'll usually make pins from the pictures in my blog as well, and I'll add that on the board on there. And then with my pitch party prosperity services, I just, do that when it comes. And then writing, the actual writing, I usually would do that every Sunday. That's how I wrote my second book. Every single Sunday I did it. I may have started doing it a few days. I think I was off a week in July, and I did it a few days, and then I started the Sunday schedule, but I got it done in 3 months, that book. That was very different than this first book. This first book, I was just kind of like, oh, I'll do it when I feel like it. And then at the end, I got serious about it.
I guess we all learn from our book 1, no matter what it is, we all learn. It's the same story for, a lot of people. Though when you write the next book, it's a new learning curve because it's a different story, a different book. Would you say that?
Oh yes, definitely. It's completely different. And different characters, setting, everything. But my niche is being an Italian American author. And so every story I write will have that culture in it. And also I always tie in some family aspect of history, of immigration, of history, of the past, like which, sorry, I already said, but yeah, family and those themes are always going to be in my stories. And I try to make them really universally relatable to a lot of cultures because, those themes are very relatable.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about the food aspects in your book?
Oh yes, there isn't as much food in the second book, but this one has a lot. And I didn't even realize when I was writing it that it had that much, honestly, because that's like just normal for me. I like to eat, and that's kind of a big part of our culture, Ironically, I was trying to lose weight when I was editing this book in this last year. And I did, which is hilarious. Like I was so hungry all the time when I was reading and
kicking in.
Writing
That's what I'll say.
I was so hungry. Yeah.
Well, good thing is, it kind of all tied in that you were able to eat and edit and you were able to lose the weight and it all fit in beautifully. But I think the ukulele got left behind in all that.
Oh yes, unfortunately. And I drew a little bit. I crocheted a little bit, but yeah, it really had to take precedent, in the last few months. I would say since April, I had to just do nothing but the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's a few tips you can share? One is about pitches that you could share with people who, are either looking to pitch in one of these pitch parties, and also a query tip because the two tie in together as well.
Sure. Okay. A tip for pitching, I would say, make sure you use a strategy. And I do tell people about that in my ebook. And of course, if you do my other services, I'm going to tell you about that. But it's not just put it up and then ignore it all day. Like you have to do certain things to help yourself in that day. So it's a very active day on Twitter. And then as far as querying, I would just say it kind of leads back to this. I think if you do get a like in a pitch party, you're going to put that tweet at the top of your query letter. And in your subject, you're going to put something about, hashtag pitmad or hashtag whatever the party is, to let them know that they liked your tweet and that you're querying them based on that, because you're going to go to the top of the pile, the virtual pile, and then they're going to read it.
Well, thank you so much, Christine, for sharing your time with us. We thoroughly enjoyed having you, celebrating the launch of The Difference with everybody. And what can we'd like to end with something special, which is Italian, that you could share with us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, first of all. And something special is slash kind of funny. I made pizzelles the other day at one of my launch parties, and that's an Italian cookie that is usually done at Christmas time. It's done on a machine and kind of like a waffle machine, but it's a pizzelle maker. And they're light and fluffy. They look like snowflakes. You put powdered sugar on them. They're really good. So I made so many on my party that I'm like head deep in pizzelles, and I'm eating them for like every meal. And I love them, but I just finally froze some because I was like, I can't eat them all day long.
There's only so much, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing your time with Christina and me, and we hope you will buy The Difference, order your copies. The links are below the video. And of course, she's on all social media formats. She's highly, highly imaginative, creative. And of course, I'm sure you'll enjoy getting to know Christina through your own social media. So thank you so much for joining us. And we wish you the best of luck with The Difference and the next book, The Visitor.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.